Okay, so I know, well, so let's just settle into our meditation posture. And just try and land. So wherever you've come from today, whether you've been working out the gym, whether you have been at work, whether you've been family, or whether you've been on your own, just notice what's bubbling up in your mind. And remember, it's okay. So whatever it is that's there in your mind, no judgment. Just allow it. And then check your sitting posture. Your feet, your legs, sits bones slightly raised, hands in the meditation mudra, shoulders aligned with the hips, and your ears, if this is available to you, your ears aligned with your shoulders. Nice to see you, Steve. Some flowers in the background there. Okay. And just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just imagine you're lengthening your spine, and the crown is heading towards the ceiling. And then your head is slightly tipped forward and the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose. And if they were open, they'd be looking at a spot about 2 inches ahead on the ground. And then the lips are slightly apart, and relax the jaw. Then bring your attention, awareness to the crown of the head, and relax the scalp and the forehead and the eyes, back of the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, your mouth. Relax the back of the head, the scalp there, and the ears, the temples, the jaw. And release any tension in the back of the neck, and just allow your shoulder blades and your shoulders to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly, limbs, hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And bring the mind to the breath, and just notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And if there are any sounds in your environment, whether it be in your home or outside, just allow those sounds to be there. And try not to push them away. And just notice what attracts your mind in terms of sound, what's distracting you. And then bring the mind very gently back to the breath. And then notice your thoughts again. What's arising? And try not to judge or follow a story or get entangled. And just notice. And then try and be just like an objective observer, a scientist, curious, looking at what's going on inside the mind. And then we just sit on the bank of our river, our imaginary river, and we watch all of our thoughts just flow on by and notice how they change. But we're not entangled, we're not being swept away, we're just sitting there watching, free. And now bring to mind all those people of your life. These are very dear loved ones. These are people who really feel happy to see us. They're delighted when we're there. We enjoy their company. Our loved ones, our spouses, our children. And then there's those people in your life you have a little bit of difficulty with. And then there's those strangers in our life. They're in and out of our life very briefly. Sometimes we have some kind of business interaction with them. Perhaps we do business with them at the gas station. We maybe never see them again. Or they're in the pharmacy, in the line in the supermarket. But this friend, this enemy and this stranger could change places at any time in our life. And it may have happened to you. And then we think, actually, we really think we only really have concern for the people we love. We don't really think much about anyone else. We might think, feel a bit sorry for someone when you see their house burned down or something, but we don't think about it much. But we should have equal concern for that friend, that enemy, and that stranger. Why? Because they all want to be happy, just like you. They're all looking for it. And everybody wants to be free from suffering. And we're all looking for that as well. We don't like problems. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension all sentient beings. And as I've been saying, if you have a friend or someone you think might benefit from this practice, you could just bring them along and imagine they're sitting beside you, doing the practice with you. Perhaps they wouldn't come, maybe they're too tired or not interested, or they're not Buddhist even. But you can just bring them here. They can do it too. So remembering there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we're creating negativity with our mind. So instead, let's create positive energy with our mind. So here we come firstly to the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being today, in this life, and in all past lives. And then think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then in general, just regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience some kind of harm in the future, some kind of suffering. And given that we all understand about suffering and harm and problems, and we don't like it, we logically, therefore, want to remove those karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods we can use to purify. And it's not that we need necessarily the Buddha to forgive us. We're not asking for that. What we're wanting is to use Vajrasattva's methods to heal ourselves. So we're doing the work ourselves. This is the best way. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. And you can also imagine this as your teacher, your Lama, your trusted mentor, manifesting in this aspect for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful, white light. Facing the same direction as you. He's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a cushion. And this lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud. Just like our enlightened potential, which is born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. He has this radiant, beautiful face, smiling, very, very happy to see you, non-judgmental. So again, however it is you're showing up today, is perfectly fine. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of, they're like lotuses when they say long. It's like lotus petals. And peaceful and full of love and compassion for us. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I am enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, so just this little section here, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of anyone you may have harmed recently. And in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. So then remember, or think about someone that may have harmed you, and we have compassion for them because they will suffer as a result of the harm they've done to you. So you just want to have a sense of them to not suffer. And so make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the benefit of all these sentient beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So next is the power of the remedy. This is the third step. And so here we use the medicine, which is the recitation of the mantra and the visualization. So first we visualize purifying the body. So imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar. It's almost like coming out of a hose very forcefully from his heart. It arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dira me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dira me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa anarakta me bawa sawasiti me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam Shriyam Kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida me bawa sutokaya me bawa sipokaya me bawa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dudu Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dudu Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there is no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And so the next is the purification of speech. And again, Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So it's just the same. It's, LAMA YESHE used to say it's just the same as when you turn on a tap in the sink, when you're filling like a glass that's had yogurt in it or something, or milk, or any kind of food. It all floats to the surface and just overflows. So they're saying this is the same way that happens here. Just all the junk floats to the surface, except Lama Rinpoche says it's quite forceful, as though your hat is being blown off the top of your head. So imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you and pouring out of the top part of the body. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe. So again, feel so happy. Be delighted. Your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. So the next is a purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you just imagine you're filled with light. And so LAMA YESHE says, I think this is a common analogy actually, but it's the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you just flick on the light switch. It instantly dispels the darkness, doesn't it? So we never think of it that way. I think we just turned on the light, but we've actually dispelled darkness with the light. So it's the same. You just imagine you're filled with light, and that light instantly dispels all the darkness of your mind, the negativity. So all the depression and anger and jealousy and bitterness and grudges and anxiety and not feeling enough, or not feeling like you have enough or that you've done enough, wanting to get back at people, being spiteful, all these kinds of things instantly dispelled by this light and this mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified, gone. And think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech and mind. So this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it pours into you. And if you wish, as you're visualizing that, you can recite a couple of mantras each, and also imagine that same visualization we did for the body, the speech and the mind. And if that's a little bit too busy, you can just imagine light and nectar pouring in, filling you completely and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. So it's very, very subtle. It's like kind of when you leave a root of a weed inside in the ground. It's sort of, if you don't pull it all out, it sort of will grow back very happily. So we kind of want to get rid of even the imprints. as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa Savasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa savasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa savasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa savasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa savasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa anarakta mebowa savasiti mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So now feel you're completely purified, not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. So even the very subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So next is the power of resolve. And again, just rejoice. So many of you here are working and tired. You're an hour ahead of me, so it's like 9 o'clock, and then there's Elizabeth in New York where it's like 11 o'clock. So it's really amazing that you've bothered to do this rather than go to bed or watch telly or whatever. So just rejoice. Fantastic. It's so amazing. And then think of the things that you've been working on, your habits. So if it's a habit to have like a negative thought or to ruminate about something which is just not really, it's not helpful. Or there's something to do with your speech. Or maybe you don't speak up when you need to. So this is where we learn to have some kind of wisdom with our speech particularly. But so we just keep on at our habits, slowly, humbly, give ourselves a reasonable timeline, maybe 30 seconds, or if you can do an hour of refraining from something that you have a habit to do, that's fantastic. Or maybe the easiest one is while we're sleeping at night, that's fantastic. So just whatever it is you think you can manage. And this determination to not do again is what gives us the strength to change. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE used to call that union oneness. So next Rinpoche recommends to meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness there is no I, the creative negative karma, there is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you're understanding emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. So we can, this way, think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think that maybe the way things appear to me may not be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification practice to all those people of your life. Perhaps for that person, if you invited them to sit next to you. And think, may the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Hoi Tub Shul Chang Jin Jam Gon Galloway Tenzing Kyang Pelway Kunza Dog Porze Chog Sum Kuraway Leg Mon to Drup Padag Sog Dulje Gondu Jab Ten Shog. For Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request, O Lama, please, please live long. And for Geshe Shera, beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Gosh, this week is almost over yet again. It's so scary. I don't know what's happening with time. Anyway, lots of love, everybody. Sweet dreams. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so very much for hosting, Mary. And good night.
Thank you,
See you, everyone.